We are continuing to follow breaking news out of California, where NBC News has just confirmed the female shooter at YouTube headquarters has been killed. Stacia Strong is live now. Actually, we're going to pause that story for a quick second, and we're going to head out live to California, where they are doing a press conference on the active shooter situation.
Lindsay Oliver with WITN News here. We're live in Greenville, but the call did come in as an active shooter.
That only wasn't special for Tommy and his family, but all those deputies, you know, they took that home with them today as well.
It's absolutely beautiful. I was a little worried. We've had some cooler weather recently, but today is just perfect.
Sister marches are also being hosted around the country, including in Pitt County and Bayboro. On a dusty racetrack in Saudi Arabia, the annual Camel Beauty Contest is underway. They use Botox to make camels pretty.
But that will disqualify you, so you don't do it.
So you don't do that. Lesson learned. That was Governor Roy Cooper there live in Raleigh, giving us an update on preparations happening here in North Carolina. He has declared a state of emergency for North Carolina, and he also was talking about just folks getting ready at home. And I am so excited to be emceeing tonight's 2018 Escoffier dinner as part of a series, and this series is incredible because it not only benefits people's taste buds, but it also benefits local culinary students.
A grilled cheese, mac and cheese, meatloaf sandwich that we're making Matt try.
He's described as equal parts Mark Twain, college professor, and musical icon. We do want to give you an update now on the power outage we're seeing in parts of the Outer Banks. Hyde County Emergency Services on its Facebook page a short time ago says that the NCDOT ferry will keep the Hatteras-Ocracoke ferry running through the night as long as there is demand. And like we talked about earlier, thank goodness it's not that overwhelming heat this weekend like we saw last weekend. Investigators are looking into why two people were shot behind a fast food restaurant here in the east this afternoon. A live report is straight ahead. And strong winds are being blamed for pushing all of the water out of local rivers, leaving them basically high and dry. Matt will have a look at conditions coming up. Good evening and thank you so much for joining us. I'm Lindsay Oliver. Clayton Bauman is off. We begin with the story you saw first on WITN.com. Police are investigating after two people were shot in a street behind a McDonald's here in the east. Grace Holland joins us live at the scene in Kinston with all the details. Great. Thank you for that live report, Grace. We'll be sure to update you as soon as we know more information about this shooting on air and online at WITN.com. On to our weather now, where you might have felt like you were just going to blow away outside with the high winds plaguing the east. And Matt, it looks like these conditions will remain through tomorrow as well. Thank you, Matt.
You're welcome.
Those high winds completely push water from local rivers out to sea, and for some rivers, they have reached their lowest levels recorded in years. The Pamlico River in Beaufort County was reduced to a small stream in places. Boats were stranded on dry ground in what should have been the middle of the river. The lowest recorded level for the Pamlico River was a negative 3.7 feet. Today, a negative 4.2 feet. Residents who live nearby were surprised to see how much water had been blown out by the high winds. And a number of Eastern Carolina ferry services have been canceled today due to windy weather conditions. Officials with the NCDOT Ferry Division say all departures from Ocracoke, Cedar Island, and Swan Quarter have been canceled until further notice. Routes between Hatteras and Ocracoke and Bayview to Aurora have also been suspended as a result of the severe weather. Services will resume as soon as safely possible. Stay with WITN News as we continue to monitor any additional delays or cancellations throughout the day. Now, those strong winds are also likely to blame for the lights being out in part of uptown Greenville today. Police say a tree limb landing on a power line knocked out power and traffic lights to a large part of the uptown area. It happened around 11:15 this morning and lasted for about an hour. Officers were directing traffic at several intersections during the outage. Officials say also earlier this morning, shortly after 7:30, a tree fell on a power line and amp in the Bell Fork area, also causing outages. Greenville Utility said over 2,100 people were without power due to both outages. Highway 12 along the Outer Banks is seeing flooding and sand blowing onto the highway in some areas thanks to those strong winds from that nor'easter. The DOT says the highway in Dare County between Rodanthe and Avon is seeing very high sound-side flooding, while on this portion of Highway 12 between the Bonner Bridge and Rodanthe is starting to see sand accumulate. The bad conditions on the Outer Banks are expected to continue through Saturday. And those winds are not only impacting Eastern Carolina waterways, but also airports. CB Cotton has more on how they're reacting to this system. And as for other regional airports, Albert J. Ellis Airport in Onslow County says they've had at least one flight canceled, and the Pitt Greenville Airport says they have not seen any cancellations at this time. Police say they caught a woman red-handed after she broke into a fast food restaurant early this morning. Greenville police have charged 35-year-old Rhiannon Hall of Monroe with felony breaking and entering, attempted safecracking, and resisting an officer. Around 3:20 in the morning, police went to the Chipotle restaurant on Humber Drive because of a burglar alarm. They found that a patio table had been used to break the glass. While they quickly learned that someone was still inside, police surrounded the building, and they say Hall tried to make a run for it as they closed in. She has been jailed on a $35,000 secured bond. Police in one Eastern Carolina city are asking for the public's help in locating a missing child. Marcus Thompson was reported missing by his mother on Wednesday. Goldsboro police say the 12-year-old was last seen in the 800 block of North Lionel Street. If you have information on the whereabouts of Thompson, you should contact the Goldsboro Police Department or call 911. Like we heard from one of the locals earlier, that these are conditions that for the river he hasn't seen in 2 decades.
Yeah,
you have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes, you can steer yourself any direction you choose. That is just one of many famous lines written by the beloved author Dr. Seuss, and that quote represents exactly what Read Across America is hoping to instill in young readers. And today, one school here in the East held a special event to encourage students to get lost in a book. Stacia Strong joins us now live in New Bern with more on the event. Stacia, such a fun event. All right, thank you, Stacia. Research has shown that children who are motivated and spend more time reading do better in school.